I'm going to list 5 reasons why Robert Mueller's 13 Russians indictment is stupid. Reason number 1. The charges seem more like technicalities than serious crimes. Count 1. Conspiracy to defraud the United States. Sounds really bad, right? So how did these defendants defraud the United States? Well, if you read the indictment, it says that if you are a foreign entity that makes money while attempting to influence U.S. public opinion, you are required to file a disclosure of how much money you are making with the Federal Election Commission. Apparently, the Russian defendants made money off these social media accounts, but never filed the disclosure. That's it. That's the crime. Nothing about what they were doing by posting these Facebook accounts was actually illegal. They just failed to file some government form. How many YouTubers from outside of the US made monetized videos voicing opinions on the US election? Did any of these YouTubers file the form with the Federal Election Commission? Under Mueller's line of reasoning, they could all be charged with defrauding the United States. What about the other counts? Well, the defendants are alleged to have set up some PayPal accounts and US bank accounts using names of American citizens rather than their own names. Why did they do this? Because the banks would not have allowed a Russian national who was temporarily visiting the United States to open up a bank account. Now, I understand that it is a crime to lie to a bank about the identity of the person who is opening a bank account. A lot of banks are defrauded through this method when the account is overdrawn and the bank is unable to collect because the account holder turns out to be a fictitious person. However, it is worth noting that nothing in the indictment in this case suggests that the defendants ever defrauded the banks or PayPal. Instead, these accounts were used to make money by selling advertising spots on popular social media platforms. This brings us to the second reason the indictment is stupid. Reason number 2. The defendants were likely motivated by making profits rather than election interference. According to the indictment, the defendants were making thousands of dollars off of these social media accounts. They did so by creating social media groups based around political issues and then sold advertising spots on their platforms. If the goal of this organization was to influence the election, why would they bother selling space on their platform to advertisers? It would be counterproductive for them to do so. The indictment just assumes the motive behind all of this was to interfere in the US election, but you could just as easily conclude that the purpose was to make money. I'm going to run the intro and then I will go over the other 3 reasons why this indictment is stupid. Reason number 3. If the goal was election interference, the defendant's plan failed miserably. The grand jury indictment concludes that the goal of the defendants was to interfere with the US presidential election. This is because the progressive Facebook and Twitter groups created by the defendants urged their members to vote for Jill Stein from the Green Party rather than Hillary Clinton. So Robert Mueller's conspiracy theory is that the defendants used these groups to try to steal votes from Hillary by convincing progressives to vote for Jill Stein instead. So let's see how many votes were siphoned off from Hillary to Jill Stein. We'll start with the swing state of Florida. 4,605,515 people voted for Trump. 4,485,745 people voted for Hillary. 64,019 people voted for Stein. So Stein did not make a difference. Now let's look at the swing state of Ohio. 2,771,984 people voted for Trump. 2,317,001 person voted for Hillary. 44,310 people voted for Stein. Again, Stein did not even come close to making a difference. Finally, let's look at the swing state of Pennsylvania. 2,912,941 people voted for Trump. 2,844,705 people voted for Hillary. 48,912 people voted for Stein. So even in a super close election such as Pennsylvania, Stein didn't even make a difference. Even if this weren't the case, Donald Trump would have won anyways, even if he didn't have Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes. He beat Hillary by a landslide in electoral votes. Reason number 4. An indictment is not the same as a conviction. I can tell you as a prosecutor, obtaining an indictment is easy. First, you convene a grand jury. Second, you put someone from law enforcement under oath and then have them describe what their investigation found. The defendants aren't present, nor are any defense attorneys. There is no one present who can dispute what is being said or argue for an alternative explanation. After the testimony, the prosecutor provides a written indictment to the grand jury that is already filled out. The only thing the grand jury person has to do is sign it. If a majority of the grand jurors agree with what's written on the indictment, then the indictment is signed and completed. I would like to see Robert Mueller actually try to get a conviction on one of these defendants. I suspect if these defendants were able to tell their side of the story and were represented by competent defense attorneys, the outcome at a trial would be much different than what's reflected on the indictment. Until there is a conviction, these Russians must be presumed innocent, and the indictment itself cannot be considered evidence that a crime was committed. Reason number 5. Still no evidence of collusion or hacking. When the Robert Mueller investigation started, I assumed the purpose of it was to establish whether the Russian government was involved in the various email hacks that occurred during the election, and that they were going to determine if there was collusion between the Trump campaign and whoever was responsible for this hacking. As far as I can tell, there is still no evidence of this. Nothing in this indictment suggests the Trump campaign was involved in anything that happened. There is also no allegation tying Russians to any sort of hacking. As far as I can tell, the only thing that this indictment shows is that a handful of Russians committed what appear to be some minor crimes for the purposes of making money off of social networking. So those are my 5 reasons why the Mueller indictment is stupid and a waste of taxpayer money. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and feel free to comment.